Bald-headed brother doing his thing.
Didn't realize he was black until I read his Wikipedia.
He is. He's like the Thomas Chatterton Williams of the manosphere.
He's very light skinned.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if there's any pics of his father.
Is he a yellow bone? Yeah, he's not a red bone.
Huh?
He's high yellow.
What? What? What's a red bone, Anna?
These are like different shades and grades of black
Okay,
skin
one
color.
of these guys is his dad, and they're both pretty black. So these two brothers.
The one on the right does look like fat, older Aziz Ansari.
What's the yellow? What?
Some black
no, this
people do be
isn't.
looking Indian though. That's his dad.
I think Indian people be looking black.
That
personally.
yeah, hard to say which is which. His
yeah, I've been with a dark skinned guy before. Southeast Asian.
okay, yeah, and I was trying to learn today who Andrew Tate was because recently several people that I know from media circles have strongly suggested, by which I mean like literally urged me to have him on
the show.
Yeah.
Okay, because he's a misogynist.
Yeah, because he's anti-vax and a misogynist, and I was like, something, like I'm an instinctual animal. At the end of the day, as much as I pretend to be male-brained, I go by the most feminine thing of all, which is instinct. Mm-hmm. And something deep in my core said no.
Oh, I got a bad feeling about Andrew Tate. I definitely think he's done some monstrous things.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know or care if he's done monstrous things because, frankly, anybody in the
why are you as a man in Romania? It's that's just one of those massive red flags where it's like, and regardless,
BAP
if
on
he,
suicide watch.
If he technically,
just kidding, he's not in Romania. He's somewhere in like
we don't know. South America,
Southeast Asia.
He's abroad. We know that.
Yeah.
I mean, well, as a non-Romanian man, obviously, as
he's half British on his mother's side and half African American on his dad's side.
Yeah,
and
half chess genius.
Mm-hmm. And he's obviously like relatively high IQ, but with like a touch of retardation, as all like viral media personalities have to be. He's a kickboxer. Yeah, so he's had his head kicked in a bunch of times.
He's an athlete and he has brain damage.
Yeah, I mean, but something about this guy stinks, and it's really not his manosphere content or his human trafficking allegations.
It is a little bit the human trafficking allegations for me, but even those aside, regardless of whether or not he's technically guilty, I think he did run some kind of like cam girl ring in Romania.
Sure, but it's not that. Like, it's what's super suspect is that he like suddenly appeared. He's like on every platform, super viral, all of a sudden. Granted, I think that's because even though he claims he doesn't have a TikTok account, and I don't think he does, and mainly stays on Instagram and Twitter, a lot of people are reposting his content on TikTok, which has then went viral, reached a saturation point, and by the time it kind of was regurgitated back to Twitter and Instagram, which by the way are the social media platforms of an aging population. Yeah, it was
Andrew
too
Tate
late.
Is 35 years old.
Yeah, and he was like a phenom already because it happened on TikTok.
Right?
Like we don't know what goes on TikTok.
We have no idea what goes on TikTok.
So even like, given that fairly organic like social media process, something about this guy stinks. Mark my word. This is like Chamath level. My like radar, my like spidey senses going off.
My intuitive feeling was that he felt, though I agree that there's something wrong with Andrew Tate, I like reading sort of before he was banned from Facebook and Instagram, the first kind of wave of media coverage he was getting of being like a toxic influencer, to me felt like he was merely sort of being scapegoated a little bit or filling some void where there is all of this kind of like angry masculine sentiment. And he merely was like foisted as some vague figurehead of it because he was just saying stuff that everyone else was already thinking.
Because BAP was anonymous. No, I'm serious. Like he's a face lord. He's
a face fag.
Yeah.
Can I play a BAP clip?
Sure.
By the way, that I recorded the other day.
This is gonna be. Remember that podcast that summarized our podcast that was run by Audrey Gelman's husband?
Yeah.
We're gonna become that, but for Caribbean Rhythms.
Caribbean Rhythms Roundup.
And many of you, by the way, don't realize that in Soviet Union and Russia, the girls are not especially nice either. You know, they're quite demented. Once you marry one, they will spend most of their time screaming at you, making your life hell, unless you have a pimp hand, which of course you can't really have in America, or they call them
Unless you have a what?
Armed bodyguards of the lesboid gynocracy police.
Okay, he's 75% right, but he's wrong in one important, crucial respect. No Russian woman will ever scream at a man. She'll stand there quietly with a poker face with her arms folded over her chest.
I don't know. I think Russian women would do be
I've
screaming.
never screamed. I have, of course. I'm being dramatic, but every boyfriend has reported the same thing about me, which is that in moments of emotional conflict, I can be very icy and unfeeling.
Well, I mean,
because I don't like when men show his irrational emotional side. It make him look weak and like cock, and I retaliate. I just poker face.
If I'm not screaming, then you should be
very worried,
scared, because then that's when I'm coming out with the real cutting, like
with the real facts and logic.
That's when I'm really gonna be like, yeah, that's when I'm gonna really hurt your feelings. When I'm not screaming. You should be happy if I'm.
Oh, you think you can use facts and logic against me?
Oh yeah.
I'm like that dude from The Matrix. I like bend 90 degrees backwards at the waist and hit you with my own facts and logic. What are you talking about? American men think they can get past us with facts and logic.
No.
They should be so lucky when we're running around screaming like chickens with their heads cut off.
That's when they're
safe. That's safe. Yeah. BAP is wrong. Russian women don't scream. They stealth and they chisel.
And they do need. He's right that they need to be struck.
Yes. Yeah.
and that you can't really.
But that's not really a thing. That you're right. That's
you
why. That's why Andrew
hand.
Tate lives in Romania, so he can strike those OnlyFans hoes.
So he can.
He's like what Hassan Piker
hands.
wishes he was, but instead he's consigned to the role of a TikTok leftist.
How has Hassan not been? Because he's gay.
You think he's gay?
I answered my own question.
Well, as an Armenian, I think all Turks are gay, but
I thought, how could he not have been Me Too'd? And then I was like, well, clearly gay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure, by the way, I sent you that Cerno tweet where he was like, what Dan Price is accused of is far worse than what Andrew Tate is accused of. I disagree. I also think Andrew Tate's probably done far worse things, but he is higher IQ than Dan Price, definitely. Which is why he's in the manosphere. And so he attracts women who would never snakishly betray him, like an absolute viper in the New York Times.
Well, because he attracts low self-esteem, downtrodden. Exactly. Melania Nouses before they got their big break and married Donald Trump.
Exactly.
Literally just like Romanian like peasant girls
that have no recourse.
Who are total tens until they open their mouths and they have like some teeth missing.
Even that.
The gum line
then,
has scurvy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
She's
I mean,
10, but she's a Romanian sex slave working at your webcam brothel.
yeah, it's hard to say. I have to gather my thoughts because I'm a little tips, but I think my objection to Andrew Tate is that I detect this weird level of nerdy weakness in him. He reminds me of one of those games that they had. I wish there was a name for them, like whack-a-mole, like an agreed upon common name. I don't think there is. Those games that were outside of fast food restaurants back in the 90s, and it was like you spin, there was like 3 or 4 characters and you spin their bodies and heads and you have to like match their bodies to their heads. Remember those games? Andrew Tate has like a Nathan Fielder or Mark Zuckerberg head on a Michael Phelps body. It doesn't add up. It's like Christina Hendricks, who has like a cute and tiny chiseled head on the body of like a 50s glamazon pinup. It's pathological. There's something wrong.
Yeah.
And when you hear him speak, it's very interesting because he has this like Agro-American accent. I'm a high net worth individual, like almost Alex Jonesing it. But then you hear a touch of British slip through.
Yeah.
That he's trying to hide and suppress because he doesn't want to be regarded as a poof.
I will say Alex Jones's head perfectly matched to his body.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nothing is off about that guy.
Yeah.
The way that I haven't watched any videos of Andrew Tate speaking, but
it's uncanny.
I buy it. Yeah, definitely. And then I think with the, it's like the Dan Price thing. Like everyone gets what they want, right? Like Meta, whatever, gets to virtue signal by pulling him from Facebook and Instagram off their platforms.
Yeah.
He gets more, I've never heard of him, and now I, strongly associate him with like incels or whatever. That's like, he's done, he gets what he wants. He's going to
gain notoriety.
He's going to gain from being banned off of these like largely useless platforms anyway. Cause like you said, like Chinese owned TikTok is the only place where like things are like really being like
moving,
generated or moving. Yeah. Discursively at least.
I mean, if you're like, no offense to us, but if you're on Instagram or Twitter, you old.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like you're behind the times to some extent.
Well, we shouldn't be on TikTok.
No, I'm never going to go on TikTok.
That would be
I would rather, I would never trade dignity for relevance,
Right. Same. I mean, as much and as much as people like to accuse me of infantilizing myself, even I wouldn't stoop that low.
No, but TikTok is the future, whether you like it or not. It's like the platform that younger people use. So I'm thinking that there's probably like perfectly reasonable organic explanation for the sudden viral fame of Andrew Tate, which is, again, the stuff fomented, much like COVID-19 did in Wuhan, this fomented on TikTok, and then it was unleashed on the rest of the world and all the other platforms at a lag, depending on where you are.
TikTok probably has a broader, cross-section also. Well, in addition to, I think, Zoomers politics being more convoluted
Freeform.
And like postmodern or whatever, where they're like glomming onto these like identity categories. Whereas like Twitter is basically for libs or like a reactionary subset.
Or libs LARPing as reactionaries.
Exactly.
Such as ourselves.
But I feel like there's a more...
Twitter is for us and Mike Cernovich only.
And Michael Tracy.
And Michael Tracy.
And
who's a better
Landshark,
poster, Cerno or Tracy?
Ooh. Tracy.
Really?
I think Tracy's more bold with it, I
love them both.
I love them both. Cerno has a poetry, but Tracy's more devoted because he doesn't have a family.
Yeah. So true.
Cerno posts a lot, but at the end of the day, he's spending too much time with those kids to really eventually unlock the higher levels of posting.
Which is just dedication and commitment. Though he does post a lot for a dad of 3.
He posts a ton.
Yeah, but I was trying to get to the bottom of like what makes Andrew Tate so objectionable on like a content level, like setting aside any like human trafficking allegations or his shady past or any of this shit. Like, what is he saying that is so objectionable in the first place? And it's all totally reasonable.
Well, it's like you should hit women, shut up bitch and stuff. It's like the people don't like to hear that kind of it's very surface level misogyny.
Yeah, none of it is like that deep or that profound, but like a lot of it is true. Like the idea that if you're in a monogamous relationship, you should like not be on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
That again, he uses hyperbole and dramatization to illustrate that point. But like
pearls before swine, Anna. We know this.
What does that mean? Wait, I've never heard this expression.
You've never heard pearls before swine?
No.
Oh, like
I'm a swine before pearls girl myself.
Yeah, to cast something like valuable or precious before people, pigs, swine, before like those who are not able to really appreciate its value. Not that what he's saying is particularly valuable, but
you learn something new every day.
That's what the term refers to, is that it's like it's lost on any kind of like hyperbole or irony or like joke even nowadays is lost on people because they think they're the only ones capable of like having a sense of humor.
Oh, true. Yeah. Oh,